Hey, this is Molly Rennick from Living Dead Girl, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast.
And Exorcism, I guess, is the new record, and it's due out in June. Are you guys
Yeah.
still working on it, or is it complete and submitted?
Oh, it's been finished for a while. We were planning on releasing it last fall, but that was like at the beginning more so of the whole worldwide situation. So we weren't really sure what to do with it for a while. So like we were planning on like pitching it to labels and stuff, but like the original plan was not happening with the world
Right.
situation. So we basically just like restarted the plan on how we were going to self-release it and everything, but it's been done for a while.
Okay. So what's it like trying to release a record in this climate that we're in?
It's really difficult, I'm not gonna lie, because
Right.
since we don't have a label or anything, like I basically do everything myself. So that gets both really expensive and really time consuming. But honestly, I'm kind of like a control freak kind of person anyways. Like I'm super OCD about how everything is done. So I kind of like that I have control over everything. I don't like handing things off to other people. I like being in control of stuff. So it's a lot of work, but I'm honestly enjoying it.
Okay. So what was the writing process like for this record? Were you guys able to get all into the same room to write, or were you emailing stuff back and forth, or how did that work?
We recorded it before the pandemic hit. So this was like before, like we recorded 3 of the songs in September 2019. Then I decided, okay, let's do a full length album instead of singles. So then I went back to LA for January, February 2019. So I literally got home to Canada like right before everything started. But basically what we did was the first time I went down, it was just myself and the producer Mitch writing and recording everything. And then the second time we went down, I also brought John, our guitarist, with us. So we had like another guitarist in the room inputting like in the creation process, but we don't like write as a whole band. It's usually just me and the producer.
Okay. And when you're writing, is there a message or a takeaway you want your fans to walk away with after listening to a Living Dead Girl record?
Yeah, I try to write every single song based off of personal experience. I don't like to use generic or vague topics. I always want it to be personal to me because I feel like that translates better in the performance. Like if it's something that like I really feel passionately about, like you'll be able to tell that by the way I deliver it. So I always try to write about things that I feel like people will either relate to or it'll spark a feeling in them or an emotion. Like I usually try to make it something like, hey, this is what I went through. I'm sure a lot of you did too. So I try to make things that are really like speak to a broad range of people so everyone can take something away from it.
So along those same lines, then, do you have any good story? This is a two-part question. First, do you have any good stories of how it has connected with somebody? And then how does it make you feel when you've connected with somebody?
Yeah, I've had a lot of feedback like that on our recent single Escape. Basically, to put it simply, Escape is about wanting to move away from like wherever you are, like not feeling like a sense of belonging and just wanting to get out of it, get out of a situation or a place. And I had a lot of people message me saying like, I love Escape. That's exactly how I feel right now. I had some people messaging me saying like, oh, because of the pandemic, like I've been stuck in a city where I don't actually live and I haven't been able to go home yet because of travel restrictions and stuff. Like that song really struck a nerve with me right now. Like
Right.
it was pretty cool how many people told me like, oh my God, that song is exactly how I feel.
Gotcha. And how does that make you feel when they connect? It's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah, it's pretty powerful, really. It's like, it's pretty cool to think not only did I create something that people listen to and enjoy, and it's like, but it actually sparks like an emotional reaction. Like that's pretty powerful, like as an artist, whether it's you're a musician or you paint or you write books, like whatever, like knowing that something you created played a part in someone's day in any way, in any capacity is pretty cool.
Right. Oh, I 100% agree. And I think now that we're all in this weird situation, music has, or at least in my circles, is the one thing that gets us all through. So we're connecting a whole lot more with each other,
Totally.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's quite interesting. I mean, whether it's escapism or it's a more of a cathartic sort of thing, I think there's definitely, well, at least me, music runs through my veins. So it's, that's what gets me through half of the stuff or all of it.
Yeah, totally.
Are you guys planning on doing, I know you said you couldn't do the live show, got canceled. Are you planning on doing any sort of live streaming or any kind of interaction like that?
We were actually, since our local show in April is a no-go, we are planning on, we were just spoke to the owner of the venue and said, hey, can we use the venue on a day when you guys are closed anyways? And we're going to hire a camera crew to like film it. So it's like totally professional, like high quality live stream. But I don't know if we'll do it as a live stream or as like an event on our website. We haven't figured out the actual details yet, but we are planning on doing one around the same time as the album release. And we are going to play the entire album front to back.
Oh, nice. So in order, like the way it was sequenced?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Because I think there's a whole art that goes into sequencing a record that may be lost on people that are, buying singles now or bands that are just releasing singles.
Yeah, totally. Like choosing the order of the songs was like a really fun process. Like trying to pick, like, it's not even about like which one's best or which one do I want people to hear first. Right. It's kind of just like, it's like which one's beginning and ending like complements each other, like which one flows the nicest. Like once I found it and I listened to it front to back like for the first time, I was like, yep, this is it.
Yeah, it definitely sets a mood. So I'm probably a bit older than you, and I remember buying a record and listening, dropping the needle on it, listening to it the way it was meant to be listened to. And it's something I think kids and most people these days are not getting, because you don't get that. Not only did you write the song and it had meaning, but so does the sequence of it.
Totally. Like if you just listen to a random shuffle playlist on Spotify or whatever, you're not getting the full effect.
Right. I totally 100% agree. So I know I'm jumping all over the place, but let me go back to the writing process. When you're writing, are you writing songs for how they will come alive on stage, or are you writing a song just for the song's sake and then figure it out live?
I always try to think when I'm in studio, like, okay, remember, you have to do this live. So right. I didn't consider that thoroughly enough when we recorded Exorcism. I was trying to make the styles and the vocals contrast so much. I was like, I want them as high pitched and feminine and girly sounding as possible. And then I want the screams like so deep and brutal. And like, we can do it. We've practiced it. Like I can pull it off, but that song specifically took so much practice for me, because when you're doing the studio, you do everything line by line, everything separate. It's so much easier. Then when you go to do it live, it's like, oh my God, I didn't leave enough space for me to take a breath. Like I have to,
right.
You just have to kind of like modify sometimes like the delivery of a certain word, or like you have to do something just a tiny bit faster, just to have room to slip in a breath. Or it's like, okay, I'm going to let John, the guitarist, do the backup vocals here, so I have time to take a quick breath. Like right. There's definitely like, you have to play around with it a bit to make sure it works. But I definitely try to keep that in mind when we're in studio. I'm like, okay, like don't get too crazy with this like vocal style and everything. Like remember, you have to be able to go between the screaming and the singing really quickly live. So I definitely think about that in studio.
Yeah, because I mean, have you ever come across a song where you couldn't perform it live? Because I know some people are like, I'll just relate to like technical metal bands. They're doing all this crazy shit and overdubbing and doing whatever, but that's not going to be reproducible on stage without, some sort of technology. Have you ever come across a situation where you just couldn't play a song because it was that way?
There was a couple songs that we were trying to practice that we could not do until we got the stem tracks, like the backing tracks from the producer. Because there's one song in particular, actually two, now that I think about it, there's two songs in particular that have a lot of violin and cello in it. And it's like, obviously when we're playing at a small local bar, we don't have an orchestra.
You're not touring with an orchestra, right?
Yeah, it's like, so we could either scrap the song entirely or get the stem tracks to them. So now that we have the stem tracks, we can play those songs, but trying to do them, there's like entire sections where there's no instrument besides strings. So like the guitarist and bassist are just standing there and they're like, wait, we can't play the song.
Right. All right. So two more for you. One, how did you guys get involved with Jeremy?
I have actually known Jeremy for, I'd say 4 years now. I think I added him on Facebook just because I liked his work when I was like 18, and I was already modeling for years. I had like a lot of modeling experience. So he reached out to me once and said he was starting to work on a project, which ended up being the Daughters of Darkness book.
Oh yeah.
And he messaged me and said like, hey, how about like you come down and shoot for this book with me? And I was like so amazed that he even like messaged me, because I was like, you're like a celebrity photographer. I'm some random 18-year-old model from Toronto. I was like amazed that he even wanted to work with me. But he basically like made a trade deal with me. He said like, because to drive down to Massachusetts was like a 9-hour drive for me.
Right.
But he's like, if you come and shoot for my book, I'll also take pictures you can use for your band's promo pictures, like to put on t-shirts and posters and stuff. So I was like, okay, that's totally fair. Like, so I went down for like 3 days and shot the entire time with him. And we got along really well. We loved working together and stuff. So it kind of just became like a yearly routine, like every June or July, like my parents and I would drive down to the States just because I don't want to drive 9 hours by myself quite yet. So they would come with me and they would just like go shopping and go do other stuff like in Boston and stuff while I was there. But so it's like a yearly tradition now, except last year was the first year we couldn't because of COVID, obviously.
Right.
But we go down every year and we shoot for like 2 or 3 days and just take like as much content as possible. So like for like band pictures, whatever we might need them for and stuff. And then finally, like I was asking him for so much advice in music industry stuff, like who should I contact about this? Where do I get this made? How do I contact this? Like he was the one who told me like I should reach out to Mitchell Marlowe, our producer, in the first place. And then like finally the album was done. I didn't know what to do with it. I was like, I have no clue how to self-release an album. I don't know what I'm doing. And then I was like, wait a minute. You went to school for like music business. Like he went to like Berklee College of Music. I was like, and you're in the industry. Everyone knows you. Everyone respects and likes Jeremy. Like, he's such a great guy. So I was like, why don't you just be my manager? And he was like stunned that, like, he didn't even think, like, neither of us had thought of it. And then my mom was the one who actually said to me, she's like, why don't you just ask Jeremy to be your manager? So I asked him and he was like, actually, that's a great idea.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I was just curious what the connection was.
Yeah, he's awesome. It's like, you've been giving me advice and guidance and stuff for the past 4 years. You might as well just like officially join the team.
Take over anyway, right? So yeah, the last one I have for you is video wise. Are you guys doing all this stuff yourself? I know you said it was a lot of DIY. Are you doing the videos yourself as well? Like the video for Escape?
Yeah, the lyric videos, actually, I make them all myself.
Pretty interesting. Did you have training beforehand, or are you just kind of learning as you go out of necessity?
I've always just like done Photoshop, graphic design, video editing, website building. Like I already had those skills under my belt. I never like went to school or officially trained in it, but like I've always just like naturally been drawn towards like design and stuff. So it was actually quite easy for me to just pick up making lyric videos. I just like bought this software and played around with it. And within like 12 hours, I was like, all right, there's our video.
Nice. And that's good. You can all do it in-house. So you're very much a DIY, sort of like the old school punk days.
Yeah, totally. Like I'm the one that like builds our website, designs the merch, designs the CD covers, fulfills all the merch orders. Like anything I can do myself, I'd rather just do myself than hire someone.
No, that's great. Especially nowadays when it's tough to make a living doing it. So
yeah, totally. Like I love doing everything myself. Like I love it being super hands-on.
That's great. Sometimes you don't have the time to do it. And I guess you just do what you got to do. I know you said you're pretty active social media wise. If fans want to find you, can you drop your links for us?
Yeah, so on Instagram, we are Living Dead Girl Official. And on Facebook, we are Living Dead Girl Band. We also have our official website, livingdeadgirl.ca, where there's pictures, videos, merchandise, anything that you might want to know about Living Dead Girls, all on that website there. And then my personals, it's just Molly Rennick on everything.
Awesome. Did I miss anything that we need to talk about, or do we think we covered it?
I think we just about covered it.
Good. Hope that wasn't too bad.
No, that was fun.
Hey, thank you for taking the time, Molly.
Thank you for having me.
Be well. Stay safe.
You as well.
All right. Bye.
Bye.